Welcome to another insightful journey into Buddhist wisdom. Today, we're tackling a question that many of you have asked. How can we make correct decisions in life? Think about it. Every choice we make, big or small, shapes our future. Should I take this job? Should I move to a new city? Should I forgive someone who has wronged me? These are the questions that define the course of our lives. What if I told you that Buddhism offers a clear, time-tested method for making the best possible decisions? Today, we will explore a powerful teaching from the Buddha, one that serves as a mirror to reflect upon our actions before we take them. Let's begin this exploration by stepping into the past, into the time of the Buddha himself. In one of his teachings, the Buddha compared the process of decision-making to looking into a mirror. He once asked his son, Rahula, "What is the purpose of a mirror?" Rahula replied, "To see our reflection and correct our appearance." The Buddha then said, "Just as a mirror helps us see our external reflection, mindfulness helps us see the consequences of our actions before we act. Before you speak, think, or do anything, examine it as if you were looking in a mirror. Ask yourself, will this action harm me? Will it harm others? Is it skillful, beneficial, and wholesome? If it is harmful, do not do it. If it brings peace and happiness, then act upon it." This profound advice may sound simple, yet it holds the key to making wise and correct decisions in life. But why is it so hard for us to make the right decisions? And how do we develop this mindfulness that the Buddha speaks of? Why do we make bad decisions? Most of the time, people make poor decisions for one of three reasons: lack of awareness. Many times we make choices impulsively, without considering their consequences. We react based on emotions, anger, greed, or fear, without pausing to reflect. External influence. Society, family, and friends often pressure us into decisions that may not align with our values. Instead of asking, "What is right?" we ask, "What will others think?" Short-term gratification. Over long-term wisdom. The mind is wired to seek instant pleasure and avoid discomfort. Often, the right decision is not the easiest one. A lazy person might choose to procrastinate, even though hard work would bring long-term success. So, what can we do about this? The Buddha gave us a simple but powerful formula. The Buddha's advice can be broken down into three fundamental steps. 1. Pause before you act. The first step is awareness. Before making any decision, pause. Take a deep breath. Give yourself a moment to reflect before acting. This simple act of pausing helps you regain control over your emotions. The Buddha once said, "A moment of patience in a moment of anger saves you 100 moments of regret." Imagine a person who is about to send an angry text message in the heat of the moment. If they paused for just 5 seconds and thought about the consequences, they might choose a different response, one that leads to peace instead of conflict. 2. Evaluate the consequences. The second step is self-examination. Ask yourself these questions. Will this action harm me? Will it harm others? Is it wholesome and skillful? Will it bring peace, wisdom, and happiness? If an action is unwholesome, avoid it. If it brings goodness and peace, act upon it. Think of it this way. Before planting a seed, a farmer checks the soil. If the soil is barren, the seed will not grow. Similarly, before taking action, we must check the moral soil of our decisions. 3. Choose the harder but wiser path. The final step is courage. Making good decisions is not always easy. The right choice is often the harder path. But if you practice wisdom and patience, you will always find peace. The Buddha himself faced this challenge many times. Before his enlightenment, he struggled with uncertainty. Should he continue seeking external teachers, or should he trust in his own meditation? He chose the more difficult but ultimately correct path: self-discovery and enlightenment. Let's look at some real-life examples of people who applied this wisdom. Example 1. The King's Dilemma. Once, a great king faced a difficult decision. Two of his ministers were in conflict. One advised war, while the other urged peaceful negotiations. Instead of acting impulsively, the king followed the Buddha's advice. He paused, reflected on both choices, and asked, "Will this action bring harm to my people?" Through mindfulness, he realized that war would cause suffering. He chose the harder but wiser path: peaceful negotiation. His kingdom flourished, and he became known as a wise ruler. Example 2. A modern-day dilemma. Imagine you are offered a high-paying job, but it requires you to compromise your ethics. If you accept, you gain money but lose peace of mind. If you reject it, you keep your integrity but face financial struggle. What would the Buddha advise? Pause. Reflect. Consider the consequences. Choose the path that brings true peace, even if it is harder. This is how we apply Buddhist wisdom in daily life. The science behind mindful decision-making. Modern neuroscience supports the Buddha's teachings. Studies show that people who practice mindfulness meditation develop stronger prefrontal cortex activity, the area of the brain responsible for decision-making and impulse control. When we pause before acting, we activate this rational brain instead of reacting from the emotional brain, amygdala. So, practicing mindfulness isn't just spiritual advice. It's scientifically proven to improve our decision-making. To make correct decisions, follow these simple rules. Pause before acting. Reflect on the consequences. Choose the wiser path, even if it is harder. Practice mindfulness daily to strengthen decision-making skills. When we apply these teachings, we find clarity, peace, and wisdom in every choice we make. The next time you face a tough decision, remember, life is a reflection of our choices. When we make wise choices, we shape a wise life.